Florida parents sue Catholic school for being too woke. So this story is so funny. The Academy of the Holy Names, a Catholic school in Florida, is being sued for teaching students about human sexuality and pregnancy termination, among other controversial issues. Anthony and Barbara Scarpo filed a lawsuit alleging that the school is just acting to be a Catholic school while leading the children astray. The Scarpos said that their older child just graduated from the school, but they pulled the other one out because of what was being taught. They objected to the Catholic school's efforts to teach about racism. The Scarpos listed 13 counts against the school, including breach of contract and fraud. They're suing them for being fraudulent Catholics, basically. They also demanded that the Academy of the Holy Names stop identifying itself as a Catholic school.
I'm pretty sure the judge is going to throw this right on out.
It's so funny. And in this lawsuit, they include pages and pages of emails from other pissed off Catholic parents who are really pissed that they teach about LGBT kids in the school. Here's a quote. One of the issues was that the school wasn't anti-LGBTQ enough. Quote, on the blackboard at the entrance to the school where all ages pass, the complaint says, the defendant academy explains how to be a good ally to the LGBTQ individuals, but utterly fails to put in any part of this explanation into perspective with mainstream Catholicism.
So
wait, before you start, Rivka, these people are basically suing because they're teaching your kids not to be hateful and accept people.
Yes.
And they're basically their definition of woke is just being a decent human being that doesn't go and hate on people because of the way they are. I mean, at this point, you should just ask yourself. Just ask yourself. Yeah.
Are we
okay.
the baddies?
So the fact that they're saying that they're fraudulent Catholics, so that, how do you prove who, when you're a Catholic, you self-identify, they're saying we're Catholics. They may get funding or, whatever it is that comes through the diocese of theirs. So that legitimizes them. And if you perceive someone to be not doing what you want at a private school, the damages or the recompense that you get is that you take your kids out of the school, go somewhere else. You have the choice. You're not forced to be in this school. And I think that it's interesting where they also said that the fact that they raised all this money for the school and now the school is doing these terrible things has besmirched and harmed their reputation. And they also want them to stop saying they're Catholic school. But they are sponsored by the Sisters of the Holy Name of Jesus and Mary. So that is some Catholic organization. And I find it really also that one of the counts that's against them is against the Florida Catholic Conference because they accredited the school. This is, to me, seems like one of these nuisance value lawsuits, that this is what this is. It's a nuisance to the Catholic school. And from what I can tell, I mean, I can't imagine that a judge would actually even, deign to listen to this nonsense. I mean, it seems like it would just be thrown out. And I'm not sure what kind of standing they even have. They chose to go to that school. They made the decision to pay for it. If they don't like it anymore, stop going. And I'm sure that there isn't any kind of tuition reimbursement in the contract. So too bad. And which is what they want. They want money back on their tuition. But it is Florida, so you do never know.
They are suing the school for $1 million. Wait, but I want to read a few more excerpts from this because it's just so funny. So they also took exception to the Catholic schools teaching about the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, who are people who were killed by police. And, quote, what has actually happened was less of a conversation and more of a lecture about being guilty because of one's skin color, and economic status. And the person who wrote this article makes the funniest point. They said, apparently surprised that the Catholic school would make students feel guilty.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, ouch.
So these people really are out of their minds.
No, that's such a good point. How dare you make us feel guilty? Like, excuse me, you're Catholics. That's your entire religion. Wow. How did I miss that? Good job, author. Who is this? Who's the author?
And then, quote, rather than view racism and hatred through the lens of a Catholic education, defendants chose to provide only one perspective. You students should be guilty if you are white and your parents can afford our tuition with or without financial aid.
So what I want to know is, what's the Catholic perspective? The Catholic perspective that they claim publicly is, you love everybody and, everybody's a children of God. That sounds very Catholic if they're trying to say, hey, be nice to other people and don't hate on them because of their skin color. But I'm saying that that's their public persona, right? Okay. So what is it that they're asking for exactly?
I think that they are probably too vegetative in the brain to understand what is and is not actual critical race theory, and they can't identify. So a lot of Catholics are doing like a scare about critical race theory and how different ways of education that may or may not be informed by aspects of critical race theory actually divide people, and it's divisive, and so that's their angle. It's kind of an anti-CRT angle. And the way that the rest of this reads is what I'm assuming is what's informing that statement. But another quote from a pissed off parent that was included in the lawsuit was basically claiming that the school is so progressive that it's abusive to their children. They're not even Catholic.
But this is what's really great. The next thing that this quote after the abusive, because specifically when we talk all the time about undue authority given to religious figures and all kinds of things that religious figures feel comfortable counseling people on, teaching about. So this person says, who among you is a trained clinical expert in understanding, teaching, and lecturing on these highly sensitive social justice, equity, racial, and sexual issues? None of you. But the point is the Catholic Church does teach on sexual issues. They do teach on,
great point.
Justice, because there is a whole wing of the Catholic Church, or a faction that's that liberation theology that talks a lot about social justice. It's just not this
very left wing economically too, liberation theology.
Right. So, and they do teach about all kinds of things that they may or may not be experts on, how marriage is supposed to work, whether or not you should use birth control, or what, they're not doctors. They're teaching on all kinds of things that they're not experts on. That is they are being good Catholics. That is through a Catholic lens. They're giving the Catholic position on that.
Okay, I mean, Catholic position is to hate. To be fair, though.
I mean about teaching about stuff that's part of Catholicism that they aren't necessarily trained in. They may not be a sexual counselor.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Giving you the Catholic view on it. That's
a very good point. I do hope that the case that goes beyond just being dismissed. I don't know how it works in America, but I heard some countries when you actually sue with no basis and waste the court's time, you actually get fined. And if the other party had to defend itself, you have to pay their legal fees.
That's I hope he does force them to pay the other legal fees.
I hope that not only they get no money, but they actually have to pay the legal fees for the school, because how baseless this was.
They get to pay the Catholic Church's legal fees, which would be
really
wait, no, funny.
I actually never mind. You reminded me of something. I actually take that back. I don't want the Catholic Church to get any money, so never mind. I take that back.
No, I just want to give a small note. So this school is
actually never mind. No, I can't. Sorry. I have to say, actually, don't take it back, because the money that they would be paying the school would not go to the school itself. It would just cover their legal fees. It would go to the lawyers. So I do hope that the judge forces them to pay the money. Anyways, go on, Susie.
I found this personally funny because this school in Florida is part of a sister network of the Holy Names schools. I grew up going to Catholic schools in Seattle, and we have Holy Names Academy, which is an all-girls school in Seattle. And it was known for being one of the stricter Catholic schools in the area. Like, I went to a different Catholic all-girls school, and our rules on uniform were way looser. Like, they wouldn't even let you have like dyed streaks in your hair, like, or ear piercings. Like, they were very controlling. So it's so funny to me to hear about this other, like, it's so progressive, it's abusive to our children, Holy Names, like in Florida. Like, this is very different. Things have changed.
MAGA Head Atheist is saying that there might be more to the story in response to CRT and Drag Queen Storytime. First of all, conservatives call everything that they don't like, anything that teaches, I don't know, inequality or the history of racism in the United States, or any support. Like, CRT is now a catch-all term for anything that reminds conservatives that there is actual racism in the country. They're like, oh, that's CRT, that's CRT. They don't even know what CRT is, but they just label everything CRT. That's one thing. We are anti-woke school people, but what conservatives consider woke is just being a decent human being now. That's how it's being. What many conservatives consider what woke is just being not hateful and bigoted is now woke, apparently. Another thing is, I actually support Drag Queen Storytime.
I can't take anyone seriously that has a moral panic about Drag Queen Storytime. I can't take it seriously.
Kids. No. So, Rivka, guys, let me finish my. Kids like costumes, people in colorful outfits. It's fun. I don't see a problem with it. Rivka, you wanted to say something?
I was going to say to MAGA Hat that I guarantee you this would be listed in the indictment, or the suit rather, not the indictment, if there was a Drag Queen Story Hour, because they have got all kinds of things that they've brought up. They have brought up every possible thing, and I can't imagine that wouldn't be at the top of their list. So I really don't think that's not even the issue here.
Yeah, it was including an email thread of other pissed off parents. Like, that's not even a thing. I don't even think they have children that are that young at that school. I don't even know.
Imagine if you could sue a school because you don't like their curriculum and they're teaching things that are not in accordance with your values, and you get to sue the school. Like, imagine if that was actual there would be no school. There would be no school standing. No school. The entire education system would collapse because no school would be able to survive angry parents.
You can sue schools in the United States, but they have to be public schools that are not adhering to, say, the curriculum that the state mandates. That's right. Exactly what's going on in and even if they're private schools. I specifically said,
imagine if you could sue schools just because you don't like if their teaching doesn't match your values. Obviously, you should be able to sue schools because it's a law that children get specific base skills like math and writing and if the school is failing, you're right. They should be able to sue. But if you're like, they're teaching values that I don't like, I get to sue. then I don't think schools will be able to survive. Go on, Rivka.
People will sue schools sometimes because they'll say that the teacher, and this is our public schools, the teacher saying stuff that goes against my values because that's not in the curriculum, or the community didn't vote for these things. But these are American public school systems, which are all different in every municipality. Now, a private school still has to adhere to some state laws about minimum amounts of, education for certain subjects. But a private school doesn't, they can pretty much do a lot more of what they want. Because the point is, if you don't like it, go pay someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. That's actually very. So
that's exactly the point.
Yeah, it's basically the same as like you going to a restaurant and not liking the food, and instead of just like leaving a bad review, just suing the restaurant because you didn't like the taste. You could just go take your money somewhere else.
I sue you.
No, very, very. The framing of it is very well put by Rivka. It gives us a lot of context.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.